I ain't tryna bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. One thing I taught myself to do, no matter the problem, refuse to lose. So, how you want it, man? You can choose. If you can't take the heat, don't light the fuse. See, I walk in slow and ignite the room. Like fire, everything I touch, I consume. I'm getting up while y'all just snooze. While you make breakfast, man, I'm on the move. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. In me I trust, yeah, I smell like success, this Elon Musk, huh? Everybody wanna be like us, we don't stop, cause the top just ain't enough, huh? I ain't never gave no fucks, I ain't scared, man, you know black men don't blush, huh? Came here ready to fight on this night, you better just run for your life. Won't you come and see what it's like, living by the rules that you write. You ain't know those lavish delights, now you had no back in sight. All the little lies you recite, just makes all the savage unite. Usually I'm very polite, but I'ma get savage tonight. Even when a dog being nice, every single dog gonna bite. You might think I'm wrong, but I'm right. Just let it get a strong appetite. I'ma let it breathe just a little, give it to you strong, heavy metal. I don't make a sound when I strike, you better just run for your life. 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 Yeah. Woo. I ain't tryna bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. One thing I taught myself to do, no matter the problem, refuse to lose. So, how you want it, man? You can choose. If you can't take the heat, don't light the fuse. See, I walk in slow and ignite the room. Like fire, everything I touch, I consume. I'm getting up while y'all just snooze. While you make breakfast, man, I'm on the move. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. In me I trust, yeah, I smell like success, this Elon Musk, huh? Everybody wanna be like us, we don't stop, cause the top just ain't enough, huh? I ain't never gave no fucks, I ain't scared, man, you know black men don't blush, huh? Came here ready to fight on this night, you better just run for your life. Won't you come and see what it's like, living by the rules that you write. You ain't know those lavish delights, now you had no back in sight. All the little lies you recite, just makes all the savage unite. Usually I'm very polite, but I'ma get savage tonight. Even when a dog being nice, every single dog gonna bite. You might think I'm wrong, but I'm right. Just let it get a strong appetite. I'ma let it breathe just a little. Give it to you strong, heavy metal. I don't make a sound when I strike. You better just run for your life.
This morning I was feeling pretty dangerous.
Run for your life.
Run
for your life. Run for your life.
Mic check 212.
Run for your life.
What is up, guys? This is DDP from the Dallas Prospects. Salute to everyone we got in the house already. First and foremost, basketball and soccer. What's up? CJ, what's good? Redbeard Sports. Samuel, what's up? Let's see. Trevor, Freedom Roar. Yes. See everyone here. Let me see. Ilmars? Let me know if how to pronounce that. I want to make sure I can get your name right. You're always in here and a good subscriber and everything, so definitely want to make sure I get your name right. Yes, so this is a live stream I had originally planned on doing. Let me adjust the mic here. Originally had planned on doing yesterday. That ended up not coming together just because I was incredibly busy this weekend, not just with the game Saturday night, but then all the content I had to put together, editing the videos and all that. It just took a lot of time and kind of kept me away from doing this live stream. So I still wanted to do it, not so much to talk about the game, because I did a post-game show that night. And you guys already know at this point how the game Saturday night went. It's Monday, late afternoon here at my time zone, 4:30 my time zone. So yeah, you guys are aware of the Toronto game. So I can talk on that a little if you want, or I can just kind of keep the focus on the stuff I wasn't able to say necessarily. Regarding the media access and all of that. Thank you to everyone who's been very supportive of that, and to everyone who has been interested in seeing me do a video talking about specifically my path to this point regarding sports journalism, regarding the start of the Dallas Prospect, all of that. That video went up late last night. Basically, I did the flip of an interview I did with Big Game James this past summer. Now, at the time for that, I interviewed him regarding his own startup of Silver and Blue Nation. So we kind of decided the easiest way to do this for me, rather than just me awkwardly sitting here and doing a pre-recorded talking to the camera, would be if he interviewed me instead, which he had expressed interest in previously. So it worked out in that regard. So if you want to know more about my individual story, my path, and kind of my plans as well in January, early 2020 here, that's a checkout thing for you as well. Check that out, give you whatever advice, and as James says in the video as well at the end, if anyone ever is interested in writing for the Dallas Prospect or just getting into sports journalism in general, you can hit me up for questions and advice. I will help you to the best of my ability. I am always willing to help people. I helped bring in James with the Dallas Prospect covering Cowboys, and I've kind of to some extent on the writing side sort of mentored him and had handled a lot of the editing stuff as well for him, just to kind of help him improve as a writer. So always an open door if you guys are interested. Now, to get into the game itself Saturday, or the actual event, every game day for the Mavericks, you have a Rick Carlisle presser, typically around 5:30, sometimes 5:45 if it's a 7:30 start versus a 7 o'clock start. So that's where I was. I was at the AAC about 5:15 just to make sure I got everything ready. It had been a few years since I had actually been at the actual Mavericks games and covering them as a credentialed media member. A lot of it was old hat. Like, a lot of it kind of walking around was just like, man, it's been a long time since I've been here. But at the same side, the whole locker rooms have been redone. Like, the entire layout back there is completely different. It's not like they just repaneled the room or redecorated. Like, it's new walls and an entire new path in there differently. So once we got pregame into the locker room, which I got some footage as well on the channel of DeLon Wright pregame talking about him and playing against his old team, the Toronto Raptors, the team who, interestingly today, we found out, despite what he thought last Saturday night, so a couple nights ago when I was there, he thought he was going to get a championship ring from the Raptors. It seemed like that had been intimated to him, and then he found out, and just like the rest of us today, that will in fact not be happening. The Raptors are not going to give him a championship ring because he was traded in the Gasol trade with Memphis. And I don't know. I don't like that. It's one thing if a guy was only there for a short window. DeLon Wright was there with the Raptors for years and played a pretty good role for them off the bench. So not a huge fan of that, but he talked about facing his old team and kind of his role in Dallas. Other than navigating the locker room, a lot of it was familiar to me. I knew exactly where to go for Rick Carlisle's pregame press conferences, and that's, just kind of the same general outlook you would expect. There were some questions in there. Somebody in the community post asked me. I didn't actually get to ask the question. Someone beat me to the punch. I was like the next person waiting to ask the question. Specifically asked about Barea's minutes and why we had that one game where he came in, had about 14 minutes and 14 points and 3 assists, and why we haven't seen him since then, basically. Like, why have we not gotten more of him if in the one dose we got, he was really good? Has he had any issues? And Carlisle kind of chalked it up to the standard. He's ready, he's healthy, and he's ready whenever we need to call on him. And we haven't really gotten anything else from him, so it kind of, and that last part's not Carlisle's quote, the haven't got anything from him. That was my assessment on the back end. Basically, it all boiled down to a coach's decision answer. He just didn't put it that way. So that was a little bit of a bummer. I was hoping to see more Barea, especially in that game. Only dude in the locker room that I can actually look eye to eye with. I'm about 6 foot tall, so I actually look a smidge down at where Barea is height-wise. But it's surreal walking into that locker room, and the first thing I saw walking in was Justin Jackson actually getting ready pregame and all that, and he's 6'9", dude. Like, it's different because I've been around some of the Cowboys players for like events for the Cowboys experience, and a lot of those guys, like especially the wide receivers, they look like they're fit, but they're not giants. Like, they look like regular people for the most part, and you can understand to that extent how it's a little bit easier to not recognize them if you saw them on the street. Now, unless you see like a main figure, right? If you see Dak or Michael Gallup, well, maybe Michael Gallup will slip by you, but Dak or Zeke or Amari, you would recognize them. But you see some of these other guys, some of these more obscure players like Chidobe Awuzie, you're probably not going to recognize them on the street, and unless you're a diehard Cowboys fan, there is no mistaking seeing NBA players for the first time, or seeing them up close, I should say. Like, it is unreal how tall these guys are, and it just doesn't process until you're actually looking back at them, where you walk in and you're standing 3 feet from Justin Jackson, you're like, oh, hello, good game the other night. Yeah, it's me. Like that, it's just a trip. It's a trip. So that's the main thing of it, just kind of getting back in the flow. And I was fortunate enough to be given credentials by Dallas Sports Fanatic. It was single game passes, so it's not like I could go tonight if I wanted. I'm working toward doing that. It's kind of one of those things where I don't know if I'm going to ever be there every game of the year, every home game of the year. But it's kind of like you build up over time with enough of these appearances for the website and the Mavericks media relations people get more familiar with you specifically. And then at that point, you can apply for season credentials. There are already 3 or 4 people with Dallas Sports Fanatic that have those credentials, mostly photographers, but a couple of contributors. And I ultimately would like to get to that point where I basically, on any given home game, could be like, it's there if I want it. I can go in and get it if I want it. And then I'd have all kinds of great locker room footage and pregame, postgame quotes, all that stuff for you. So that's ultimately part of my thinking there. Let me hit up some of these comments again here. I kind of was glossing over earlier as I was on a long-winded rant there. Let's see. Trevor, yo, love the channel, bro. Always watch every video. Appreciate you. Congrats on the whole media thing, says Freedom Roar. Appreciate it. Let's see. It's Latvia's 101-year country anniversary. Hey, congrats. Ready to get that dub against the Spurs tonight. Man, I would love it if the Mavericks could somehow beat the Spurs. It's a new era. Like, the last 22 seasons, you've either had Tim Duncan and or Dirk Nowitzki on the floor in this matchup, and you don't have that now. But recent history has not been good for the Mavericks. I only had time to go back to post-championship, so the first season after the championship for the Mavericks, but the Spurs have literally won, like, what was it? It was like 31 of the last 37 matchups or something. I mean, it's brutal. Brutal. It was like 31-6 post-championship in terms of head-to-head matchups. The best the Mavericks have ever done in those cases was splitting the season series twice, 2 games apiece. So there's a lot there, but it is a new era. You know, Kawhi even is gone. And yeah, DeMar DeRozan was good for them last year. They still got LaMarcus Aldridge, who's good, and the Spurs are a very good team. But it's a new era for the Mavericks too. You got year 2 Luka, you got Porzingis, who hopefully looks like he's starting to round into shape a little bit. And hearing him talk, hearing everything post-game in that event, you got a little bit of that confidence from him as well. You can kind of see it starting to get back and come back to him a little bit. So that's good. That's really, really good. So we just got to see where that goes. And, you know, there's more firepower on the bench now. Seth Curry, he had a good bounce-back game the other night as well. And bench players tend to play better at home. You need your stars more so on the road, but your bench players tend to play very well at home. And thankfully, this is a home game tonight. So let's see if we can get this ship back righted a little bit and, you know, start off the season against the Spurs, at least in that matchup, with a 1-0 edge. We will get the W tonight. Yes, sir. That's what I'm hoping for. Matt Caldwell, what's up? Isaiah Hunt, what's up, everybody? Greetings from the Philippines. That's cool. How did the Mavs lose to the Knicks twice? Dude, I don't have much of an answer for you on that, unfortunately. I think the Mavericks have kind of played down to their level of competition because we've seen them go toe-to-toe with the Lakers, and the Lakers were red hot during that stretch. We saw them go toe-to-toe as well, obviously beat the Raptors. Like, that's 2 very good teams to go against. They played Boston really tight until the last few minutes, so you see all those different things, and it's kind of like, yeah, they can play with some of these good teams. You just have to bring it every night. And for the Mavericks, unless they have that third consistent man, which it's never a one guy, it kind of floats or no one's there for the bench. And if you add that with a KP off shooting night, which he's been struggling a little bit lately, although I think he's starting to find his footing a little bit, it's going to throw you for a loop and it's going to make things difficult. That's just the nature of the beast. So we're going to have to ride this out for now. We'll see where they get. It sucks that we had to suffer that embarrassment, nay, that humiliation twice in the span of 6 days. But I'm hopeful. The future is still very bright, and there are ways for this team to improve. I still think that they're going to look at some kind of trade when we get closer to the deadline. Interior defense still needs a boost, although KP was fantastic in his defensive efforts the other night against the Raptors. And hey, Maxi Kleber should get pretty much all of the minutes over Dwight Powell, because Dwight Powell isn't stopping a runny nose in the lane, let alone another big man. And Maxi played really, really well. Maxi basically shut down Siakam. 6 of 24 shooting for Siakam in that game. 5 turnovers. Like, Maxi was a beast defensively for the Mavericks. So there are some things where you see certain parts coming together and other parts where you're still trying to figure it out. Tim Hardaway Jr. still figuring it out. Dwight Powell still figuring it out. Like, it's just a mix. You just got to kind of see. So we'll see. We'll see how they go. I'm hopeful that they're finding something with that KP pretty much elbow or just a smidge below the elbow. Pass down to him, just turn over his inside shoulder and kind of shoot the little fade away. That's been money for him so far this year. It's when he puts the ball on the deck or tries to do a little bit too much. Sometimes even just spot ups haven't been great for him, but you give him that little inside move, he's been very good on that this year. Shout out to DDP. Really love your content. I listen to DDP every day at work. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you, CJ. I do think that KP will get better. I do. And if you guys want, I already posted the stuff to the channel because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get to this yesterday. I have the clips from that. I got Rick Carlisle post-game, I've got Luka post-game, and KP post-game. I can just kind of splice into this live stream if you want it. Let me know in the comments if you do. I can splice that in there. But yeah, there's that available as well. You saw in the thumbnail title I referenced with post-game footage, and now it seems a little bit unnecessary. But if you want it, I got it. KP needs time. Yep, I agree. And I think a good sign as well for KP getting his groove back is that you're seeing him attack the rim more aggressively. You're seeing him dunk in traffic specifically. And, that's how he got hurt. That's how he tore his ACL, was dunking on Giannis in Milwaukee. So it's one of those things where as he kind of gets back his feel and his groove for it, the fact that you're seeing him get a little more aggressive now in that regard and be willing to just kind of blow through the contact, that I think that's a really good sign that he's kind of getting confidence back in the knee. 20s is decent for the rest of the game. Team should really step up. Hardaway Jr., Seth Curry, and Powell are far too inconsistent. They have been, and Curry had really been struggling. I think he broke through a little bit in that game the other night. Hopefully he can keep building on that, because I'm telling you, Curry is much better than you've seen so far this year. Always wondered in media scrums, do people just ask questions or is there an order? Seems like everyone asks questions at the same time, says Richard. It's a free-for-all, dude. Like, it really is. There is no order. You just start talking, and so inevitably you're going to have 2 or 3 cases where two people start asking a question at the same time, and eventually either the person who's a little louder, not shouting, but a little louder, or someone will blink, so to speak, where both of us start talking at the same time, but I hesitate as I notice, like, oh, they're talking, and then that person just kind of, goes through it. It's an awkward dance. With some of the more established media people, there's kind of an understood respect. Like, for instance, Tim McMahon, no one's really going to push back on that. Not only can he get a question in, he can get in a follow-up question or something like that. Dwayne Price, same thing. You have those guys who are established like that and who can do that for sure. It's just a matter of kind of building that reputation, that rapport with the players directly, where you have that personalized relationship with the players, and they'll answer your questions because they know you, they're familiar with you. Me, if I had gone in there and I tried to ask 1, 2, 3 questions in succession or something like that, I would have been ignored probably after the first question. So I talked with some of the players a little bit, but that was off camera before we were allowed to start rolling as far as footage is concerned. Just kind of small talk with some of the guys before the game. It's really cool, man. A lot of these guys are humble, and a lot of them are very interested, particularly in like video games, Call of Duty, Fortnite, things like that. So it's interesting. You think about it sometimes. You're like, oh, these grown athletes and everything like that, but you forget some of these guys are in their 20s and things like that. So yeah, they're still very focused on that. And hell, even some of the guys who are a little older, you still have a lot of guys that seem to play games. So it's kind of cool. It gives you some easy common ground. Today in Mavs Facebook, I'd recognize Randall Cobb's golden eyes anywhere. That's very true, and that's why I distinctly left him off the list of examples of people you wouldn't recognize. Let's see here. DJ, salute as you would say. Fear it is going to be difficult against the Spurs, but one thing is our advantage, and that is the possibility of Luka and the team shoot okay. Yeah, no, I agree. Dallas played the Spurs tight 2 or 3 of the games last year. Nearly, took them to overtime, I believe, in San Antonio in Luka's first matchup against them. And he didn't have near the firepower with him that he has now. So if the bench shoots well, Dallas's 3-point shooting as a team has been shaky the past 2 or 3 games. 23% against the Raptors. And I want to say it was ballpark that against the Knicks, too. If they can improve on that and keep getting to the line, I feel pretty good about it. I feel pretty good about their chances, honestly. Not saying like I'm calling a win by any means, but I think that they're going to be right there and they're going to have a real opportunity to win if they execute. Coaching staff must use more imagination for the offensive plays and defensive strategies. I agree. I agree completely. Specifically, one thing that kind of drives me crazy, I've talked a lot about how in the Mavericks system, and specifically in Rick Carlisle's system, the rim running center is so important, and that's supposed to be the great strength of Dwight Powell. I get it. I get that he is a good rim running center and he's worked well in Carlisle's system in the past. But as Carlisle has talked for weeks about getting KP easier looks, his words, getting him more easy looks, we're not getting much two-man game with Luka and KP, not in the way we expected at least, and that's because KP is playing largely the 4 position, and he's not the rim running center that Carlisle's system is kind of built around, and so it just kind of throws it off. We're not getting the kind of action we expected. I'm hoping he's slowly adapting that, and it's not just something where it's like, oh, well, we're just never going to see him utilized that way, because on paper they should fit together better than we're seeing it executed. And it's not just a matter of like, hey, you hit shots for a while and now I'll hit shots for a while. No, like you get a lot of two-man game. That's what Rick Carlisle's scheme should work around, is the pick and roll. You know, whether we're talking Dirk and Monte Ellis, you know, if we're going back to like 2013, 2014, that kind of era, or if we're talking earlier than that and we're talking Jet and Dirk and way before that, Nash and Dirk, you know, it is what it is. So we'll see, but I'm hoping that Carlisle can start getting that going a little bit more and getting KP some easier shots early on. And that inside turn over the shoulder, around the elbow, has been really good for him lately. Mavs should have signed Dwight Howard instead of Boban. They're not playing Boban very much. I don't know why they're not giving Marjanovic more of an opportunity, but I'm hoping that they can lean on him a little bit more. His plus minus is really good. They're just not giving him the consistent minutes. But yes, Dwight Howard has had himself a very good season thus far with the Lakers. It also helps that he's sharing the floor with Anthony Davis and LeBron and, you know, Kuzma and guys like that. Like, he's got a lot of talent on that team to lean on. So it's easier to shine when you're nowhere near the focal point. And when you're talking about a cleanup man, so to speak, yeah, you can clean up a lot when you got a quality guy like that playing that role. Since the shooting has been bad and it's by design, it is by design that sometimes it must be good. So maybe now is the time that the universe will let the Mavs start shooting good again. Yeah, no, I agree with that. They need to find that balance for sure. And, you know, when you got multiple guys in a little bit of a shooting slump, or Tim Hardaway Jr. has been slumping all year except for one game where he had 20 points, it can kind of be a psychological thing, and that's why I'm concerned about Hardaway. Is you see him missing shots and he's stomping his feet, he's cursing, he's catching F-bombs on the mic and all that. In the locker room, he seemed like he was still venting a little bit, not publicly, nothing on the record, obviously, but he was talking with Dodo, and it seemed like he was still expressing some frustration related to the game. And yeah, he has been in a really bad rut lately, the worst kind of way. So hopefully he can kind of break through of it. I think Seth Curry is on the right track for getting through that as well. But we just have to see. Let's see. What player should we target? I like Steven Adams. Steven Adams, I love him a lot from the Thunder. My concern would be a lineup with him and KP as a very slow-footed, not very good horizontal lateral speed, so to speak, defensively. And so I think teams would abuse us in the pick and roll really, really bad with both of them. But I love Steven Adams as a player, and I think he would add a lot. I like him enough that I'm almost still considering it despite that previous concern I mentioned. Didn't see if anybody was talking about the video, so I don't know if... Oh yeah, I talked with Brokoff a little bit in the locker room. I talked with the accountant a little bit. Let's see. KP learning the new role, and that's why Rick sly you, man. All right. That's why KP is so passive. They don't pass to him. I don't know about that. I think they're gonna look to get him a shot, but they don't want to force it to him. But you saw a decided effort at the start of the third quarter where they were running things through him. They were feeding off his energy. He was getting a big block on one end or making a diving play to save the ball from going out of bounds and then picking it up, and they were going the other way, and they were feeding him on dunks where, like I said, he was aggressive. Then you started seeing him using the glass on some of these bank shots. You typically do use the glass on a bank shot, hence why it's called a bank shot. And you saw him hitting that inside turn shot too. Brokoff is not injured. He's just not being dressed out for the games right now. He had some, I think, time away recently. I think he was talking about as I walked up away from the team, but he's back now. So we'll see. We'll see when he gets minutes to hopefully make his debut. Drummond would be great, but that is a dream. Drummond would be a big name addition for sure. Bogdan, yeah, I'd be very, very interested in Bogdan, but that's something we'd have to wait for probably. Let's see. Let me throw up real quick let me see. I'm going to throw the KP video up while I check something, and then we'll keep rolling. Get that. And Shabooey!
Rick called that probably your best offensive night in terms of being in the flow of the offense and getting stuff out of the offense.
Yeah, I felt much more comfortable tonight. Some things I thought about how I can be more effective in the offense and get to my spots better, and it felt more natural today. Not as forced, and I just missed a lot of good looks, a lot of open shots, and that's what still is frustrating me a little bit. But I'm happy we got the win. Otherwise, if I scored a few more of those open looks, could have been a much easier game for us. But our defense was there, and I like the way we worked throughout the game.
What would an example be of ideas that you came up with and that you executed?
The way I was setting screens and it was kind of stagnating our offense a little bit. And tonight I was more in movement, and when I was going into the screen, I was slipping, and that gave us more. Wasn't as stagnating. And then I was just trying to be in the flow of the offense, more movement and not as much maybe going into the low post. And at the end, I still got some looks in the low post when I switched, but it was more fluid tonight.
You talked about your defense. Rick pointed out you only had one block shot, but you changed direction for a lot of other shots. Mm-hmm. Is there something that you do specifically for that? Or is it just being 7-3 and just
The flaw of this system, I realize
it's not something I've ever
is
worked
that
on.
I actually can't hear his audio. I know you
have,
can, but I cannot.
For that, and
Therefore, I don't know when it's a great moment for me to jump back in.
It's not to block every shot, but it's the main
Or give
thing you wanna do
context
is
to
try
what he's just said.
Make the opposite team think you're going to block it.
Well
and
thought
that
out,
way,
DDP.
You can tomato a lot of shots and make them miss and make them maybe pass the ball in the last moment and things like that. So just try to be active and,
all right, we'll just bring it back.
Try to block as many shots as I could.
Okay. That's like a 6-minute video. If you want to see the whole thing, I got that, as well as Luka postgame and Rick Carlisle's postgame press conference on the channel. Check those out. I didn't want to say, because if I played them all three back to back, it'd be like 15 minutes of me sitting here just kind of silently. I can't hear it when it's playing. The audio is pumping straight through to you guys, but I can't hear it because if I was able to hear it, it would pick up on the mic, which I don't want. So I didn't want to create an echo chamber, but yeah, the event itself, the game was a lot of fun. Getting back in there, getting the access and everything, going down to the event level and everything into the locker room. I'll say this: I remember they redesigned the locker room last year. Was its first year of this new layout. It's nice. I wasn't as blown away by it as I thought I would be. Like, there's a lot of reasons I'm sure they would say it's top of the line stuff and all of that. I guess just based on what I had heard about it, maybe I overestimated it a little bit. Of course, I was in the main part, like used to Mark Cuban's whole Stairmaster media scrum thing. You would walk through the main locker room. To the left, you'd have like the area with the showers and all of that. And to the right, you'd have a bunch of workout equipment and like physical therapy and stuff like that. Cuban would be on a Stairmaster off over there, and that's where you would go for his media scrum. He would literally just be there sweating buckets on a Stairmaster, and all the press would be crowded right around his Stairmaster. And the first time I went there, this was probably when I was 23 years old, so it's been 6 years. Definitely had some Mark Cuban sweat get on me, which I was like, I just want to quote. I don't need this. But they don't do that anymore. I guess he's still available, but his Stairmaster is in a different area. I don't know, but apparently that's not an available thing anymore pregame. I was also a little bit surprised just based on a few years ago when I did this. A few years ago, dude, you could talk to like 6 or 7 different players. Like, I would go from let me talk about the last season I covered. I would go from Tyson Chandler to Monte Ellis to Sean Marion to Vince Carter to Brendan Wright to Dwight Powell, and then still have time for Dirk. This time around, I got DeLon Wright pregame. Postgame, you had opportunities to get KP, who is, as you've seen probably in the clip, fantastic. A fantastic, very insightful, post-game interview. Like, gives you his very honest and a full accountability on everything. You know what he's thinking. Luka was much more quiet than I expected. I thought Luka would be more talkative. He really wasn't at all. He kind of seemed like, I don't think he likes, the crowded around attention and everything of it. And this is just based on literally one observation from one night of doing it. So I can't act like I know anything like definitively. But he was very ho-hum in his answers. And I don't know, just there wasn't anything out of his comments that I wanted to actually like, oh, I'm going to pluck that quote and drop it into the next article I write. Like, nothing really worked for me in that regard. So I just kind of disregarded it and just went about it the other way. So that surprised me. I got DeLon Wright, KP, Luka, and I missed out on the chance to get Maxey. That was it. Like, 3 guys was really the only opportunity that was there. So that was a little bit frustrating, I guess. Is just maybe it was just a coincidence. I was waiting to get Seth for a while, and time came and he kind of just was like, "All right, see you guys," and rolled out like, okay. I thought we were gonna get Seth, but all right. I was in great position to get audio and video for that, but it didn't work out. So I guess that would be my nitpick. But it's hard to argue. Like, you get set up. If you got the credentials, then you're set up literally for free in the press box. Get the pregame access, the postgame access, the press conference access, and you watch the game from the press box. Like, that's a pretty cool experience. Like, it's really cool to be able to get that close to the guys and actually hear them talk about the game and just get all that insight that comes from it. And you're surrounded by a bunch of other guys too, the other media members there, a lot of bright guys, a lot of people like I said, Tim McMahon, Dwayne Price, all of them. And it's just a lot of really good sports knowledge in the area. And so there's obviously plenty to talk about, a lot of discussion. And they don't just talk Mavericks. You have them talking NBA in general amongst ourselves while we're waiting for different things. So it just makes for a really cool experience. I hope definitely to do those more so as the season wears on. And the other kind of thing for me, my next step that I'm going to be taking, and I mentioned it if you saw my interview with Big Game James, I am going to, in January, be going actually back to finish my master's degree in journalism, specifically in digital media and publication journalism. I'm very serious at this point about taking that next step and actually getting into this professionally. And to be clear, Prospect is still going to keep going. This channel and everything I do is going to continue going. You're still going to have my articles with Dallas Sports Fanatic and Clutch Points and all that as well. But I'm going to take that next step so that I can, make that the day job. That's what I want. That is the next step that I'm looking to take, is to actually be able to make a legitimate career in this. And I still want to do this stuff with the Prospect and all the freelancing stuff I do, but I want to build my own thing too, and I want to really get that access to where I don't have to lean on another entity that I work with to do that. So that is the major goal for me in this year, in this coming year, I should say. I got a couple years worth of work that I'm going to have to knock out, but it's like finishing, it's basically dual enrolled. So I'm going to be finishing out the bachelor's degree in journalism and simultaneously taking the master's program in journalism as well. And so that's going to be a hell of a task, but I have confidence in me and a lot of belief in myself. And a lot of that comes as well from you guys, just the confidence you have in me, the confidence you give me helps a lot, because I'm not always great at having confidence in myself, at least historically. So doing this channel and all the positive feedback and everything has definitely kind of made me feel like I can do most anything I put my mind to. That's why, I'm making the kind of difficult decision at 29 to go back to school. Like it's going to be a very, very tough task, but I'm optimistic. I'm really excited to get into doing this, because the sports writing is definitely, I think, where my best chance to break into doing this professionally really stems from. I'm also going to take some broadcast courses there, broadcast journalism courses. It won't be specifically what my degree is based around, but I'm going to do that as well to kind of help me do potentially any radio stuff, or of course podcasting as well. So that's the main thing. That is the main focus of everything for me coming in 2020. I'm going to do more of these Mav games. I'm going to be going back to school to finish my journalism degree, and a lot of hard work, but I'm looking forward to it. My day job right now, I saw that come across the comments earlier and I didn't see who asked it. My day job right now is that I'm a web developer. So the DallasProspect.com was built by myself and my friend Jacob Taylor, who's also a web developer. He was able to help me build that out from scratch. And I've pretty much, at this point, as far as new development for the website, I've pretty much just kind of commissioned it to him. So every now and then I'll pay him freelance work and all that to develop for the site. But everything else specifically with that is just like the content. That's everything I manage still. So if you guys are ever interested in getting into sports writing or anything like that, you can always reach out to me as well. You can ask in the comments, or you can message me on the Facebook page, Twitter. I don't care. I'm willing to work with anyone, give whatever advice and tips that I can. I mentioned earlier in the stream, Big Game James was someone who had written before and wanted to get back into it, and so I brought him on for working with Dallas Prospect. He's one of our writers, and worked with him a lot on kind of just finding his unique voice and style and everything, helping him kind of with some of the basic editing and just some basic kind of, I don't know if mentorship is the right word, but definitely helping him out in that regard. And, he's had a couple articles blow up since then, a couple Cowboys articles. So I'm always looking to help people as we build this up, but it's just a matter of getting there, man. Like, this is a long journey. Prospect's been going 2.5 years. The channel is a little over 2. The website started a little earlier than that. So 2.5 years for Dallas Prospect. I previously did other stuff as well for other websites, and Prospect's the first one that's mine and that I've run, and the YouTube channel, first time doing that. So that's the main task, is I want to build this thing up to a point where ultimately I want this specifically to be the day job, where Prospect is the one who on its own merits is getting the access to these events and is a go-to source for articles that you'll see, not just Prospect featured on like Bleacher Report or something like that. I want Prospect to be considered at least the city level, the Dallas level, considered like a legitimate source as well for quality written content about the Cowboys and Mavericks, and expanding outward. I'm open to covering all the Dallas sports teams as well. I just need a little help to do that. So that's the goal. This independent network that I've been talking about for a long time, it's going to happen, and things are in motion. So I can't put too much out there about it already, but I consider Saturday night and January the first steps in a really, really big 2020 for us, and I think that there's a lot to look forward to. So I appreciate every one of you guys who subscribe, everyone active in the chat and the comments and everything. It is always refreshing, and it always energizes me anytime. Like I can be having a crap day, come on here, talk Mavericks with you guys, and it energizes me. Like Mavericks, Cowboys, whatever. It is greatly appreciated, just the positive support and everything you guys give me. So I've been rattling on a lot. I know. Sorry for being a little over dramatic, I guess. But I don't know. I just have a really good feeling about where things are headed, and I think it's going to help us build this community even bigger. So Let's see. I've been going about 45 minutes on here. I think I'm going to wrap it up. Like I said, if you want to check out those other post-game videos, locker room videos, check them out. They're on the channel. I've posted all of them now. If you want to know more about my specific sports journalism journey and the start of Prospect specifically, the origin of the name DDP, that's in my video. The interview I did with Big Game James, that's on the channel as well. So just hang tight, man. Hang tight. Check it out. And I'll be back here later tonight after the Mavericks game. You know that. So it won't be a live stream, but I'll be back on here to talk a little more Mavs with you later on because I am relentless and apparently a little bit psycho. So that's going to do it for my time, guys. Thank you so much. Sincerely, thank you. Until next time, remember, every legend was... Oh, wait. Almost forgot to mention. Yeah, like the video, subscribe, share, support us on... If you really want to show us love and help us keep growing as we talk about all this new stuff, you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Dallas Prospect, or is it The Dallas Prospect? You think I would know, but it's either Dallas Prospect or The Dallas Prospect. Check us out there. Support us if you want to. And hey, if you really want to support us as well, you can also buy the merch. We have shirts and all that at represent.com. So check that out under The Dallas Prospect. Sorry again for my awkward dismount, but until next time, remember, every legend was once a prospect. Salute.
Yeah.
Nailed it. Whoop.
I ain't tryna bring you down, but for real, you might as well give up now. Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. One thing I taught myself to do, no matter the problem, refuse to lose. So, how you want it, man? You can choose. If you can't take the heat, don't light the fuse. See, I walk in slow and ignite the room. Like fire, everything I touch, I consume. I'm getting up while y'all just snooze. While you make breakfast, man, I'm on the move. I'm the first one in and the last one out. Whoever owns the place gotta drag me out. In me I trust, yeah, I smell like success. This Elon Musk, huh? Everybody wanna be like us, we don't stop cause the top just ain't enough, huh? I ain't never gave no fucks, I ain't scared, man, you know black men don't blush, huh? Came here ready to fight on this night, you better just run for your life.